Hey there, press the bell icon and never miss a video on cybersecurity and technology. Hello everyone, this is Ansh from Tech, and today we are going to talk about what is a kernel. What does it do for an operating system? You may have heard this term at some point of time if you are familiar with computer systems. We will discuss about functions and importance of a kernel. So let's get started. This term kernel is quite complicated. It's not that easy to accurately define a kernel. Most of the people don't understand it and often confuse it with BIOS and operating system. I'm going to define kernel and explain it in simplest way I can to make you understand all this. So a kernel is much like an operating system, but it's not an operating system. It is the central component of an operating system. It is the heart of an operating system. It is actually an interface between the user and the software system. That means it is an interface between the hardware components and the software applications. Let me explain in brief. A computer system is used for a variety of purposes. Depending on the user, it is used for gaming, video editing, photo editing, audio editing, office presentations, penetration testing, hardware troubleshooting, text editing, network analysis, and many more. So for each and every purpose, we install a software for that, right? Suppose if we want to edit an audio file, so we can't adjust the speakers to alter the parameters of that audio. We need some software to do that. Similarly, for photo editing, we need a different software which can do the work for us. And all of these softwares demand one or the other utility of a computer system. Video player demands audio in the form of speakers. Photoshop demands graphics or the visual component. Some games demand joysticks. Print utility demands printer. And just like this, every software demands one or the other hardware to function. Hardwares are all those components which we can touch, like mouse, speaker, graphics card, hard disk, RAM, and so on. And we humans cannot interact directly with the hardware to get things done. Softwares are those pieces of programs which we cannot touch but see, and we can work with them because they have a user-friendly interface. That is why we make use of softwares. That is why they are built in user-friendly interfaces. These softwares do the work of taking input from us, interact with the required hardware, and produce a specific output and display it. So that's what a kernel does. A kernel makes a software interact with the hardware to get a specific task done. It facilitates a communication between an application and a hardware according to the user input. The functions of kernel are not limited as an interface. It is the most important component of an operating system. It starts when the computer starts and is kept loaded until it's turned off. It decides the amount of resources to be used by every application. By resources, I mean hard disk space, RAM, GPU, etc. Every program must get a limited amount of resources so that all the other programs run well and are not interrupted. The kernel allows the application data to flow into the memory. It also decides in what order the programs will be executed. The kernel has a separate space in memory which allows it to function independently. If the user data interferes with the functioning of the kernel, it may cause instability and ultimate system failure. It acts as a central authority which guides memory and keeps an eye on all the hardware and software data flow. Every process which starts on a system demands the resources from the kernel. It is called a system call. The kernel analyzes and allocates memory for the process. Then it decides the amount of resources. The kernel should not be confused with the BIOS. The BIOS is solely concentrated on the booting of the computer. while the kernel keeps working right from the boot to the shutdown. At the boot, it works along with the BIOS to load the boot files from the memory. After the boot, it allows the applications to interact with the hardware. So this was the simplest and easiest explanation of system kernel. This is all you need to know basically about a kernel. I hope you like it. If you have any questions or doubts related to my explanation, or if you fail to understand something, please ask me in the comment section. I will reply and respond. Make sure to like, share and subscribe for more information like this on cybersecurity and technology. So until next video, stay tuned, keep watching and goodbye.